Now in the series next, I request Revered Swami Atma Shraddhanand Ji Maharaj, who has come from Kanpur, to kindly guide us on Swami Brahmananda, a spiritual giant.
Om Sthapakaaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupine avatar varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Most revered Vice President Maharaj Srimad Swami Vagishanji Maharaj, revered Swami Sarvalokanji Maharaj, revered Swami Balabhadranji Maharaj, revered Atma Prabhanji Maharaj, revered all the monks here and all the brahmachari brothers and all the devotees who have gathered here. My respectful pranams and greetings to all. We are here to spend time in satsang. पिछले 3 दिनों से हम यहाँ सत्संग में बैठे हुए हैं. पहले दिन हमने श्री राम कृष्ण देव के बारे में चिंतन किया. कल श्री राम कृष्ण के बाद माँ शारदा, फिर स्वामी विवेकानंद, और आज हम स्वामी ब्रह्मानंद के बारे में, आज उनके पुण्य जीवन, उनके आज उनका जो बर्थडे है, जो तिथि पूजा है, उस अवसर पर उन्हीं की लीला भूमि पर, भुवनेश्वर मठ उनकी लीला भूमि है, बैठकर हम चिंतन कर रहे हैं. दिस इज अवर ग्रेट फॉर्च्यून, इट्स अ ग्रेट ब्लेसिंग. इट कम्स टुगेदर, so many things put together come, then only this is possible. Bhubaneswar Mutt itself owes its origin to Maharaj, and that speaks of his spiritual greatness. My subject is Swami Brahmananda, a spiritual giant. So only a spiritual giant could think of it. So many years back, 100 years, more than 100 years back, in 1917, he deputed one of the monks, very senior monks, to go and buy a land in a place which was not that very well known. He felt that this place had something spiritual about it. उस समय भुवनेश्वर एक बहुत प्रसिद्ध नगर नहीं था. यह तो बाद में, जब 1960 के बाद में, धीरे धीरे 1930, 1960 के बाद में भुवनेश्वर की जो प्रगति हुई, and now it's the capital of Odisha. But in those days, this ashram was surrounded by a jungle, as we find in the description given about this ashram by revered Swami Nirvanananda Ji Maharaj. Few people know that he has wonderful reminiscences about Swami Brahmanji Maharaj, and there he describes how this ashram was when this land was first purchased. And for 2 years, this work goes on, and here Maharaj himself comes and supervises the work. And when that big gate, we find the replica here, that big gate is when it is being done, then somebody says, Maharaj, it's a small place. Why do you want to have such majestic big gate? He smiles and says, wait, in days to come, Bhubaneswar will be a big place. And this is, this prophetic thing has come true. And of course, traditionally we know Bhubaneswar is a Shiva Kshetra. Here, Lingaraj Swamiji is there. Plus, it is believed that Shiva and Parvati used to be here. They would have their Leela here. And Raja Maharaj himself said that in Bhubaneswar, lot of Buddhist monks have done tapasya. That is why he said this place had got special spiritual vibrations. And we are here in this land which was originally, 4.5 acres. And now it is sprawling 15 acres land, filled with Raja Maharaj's memories. As we walk across yesterday, you must have seen that lamp used by Raja Maharaj, that kerosene lamp, is also still there. They display it in the evening, the children were bringing. And we feel his presence when we go to his room. We see his pictures. We see the articles used by him kept there. So looks like every place has got some great association. Like if you want to visit दक्षिणेश्वर when you go, वहाँ पे दक्षिणेश्वर में हम कहते हैं ये ठाकुर की जगह है, ठाकुर यहाँ चलते थे, ठाकुर यहाँ बैठते थे, ठाकुर यहाँ मंदिर में जाके पूजा करते थे. Or if you go to Kamarpukur, you say the similar thing. Holy Mother also, and Swamiji's house, or some of the places connected with Swamiji. Like you go to Advaita Ashram Mayavati. In Mayavati, they say Swamiji stayed in this room. Now that whole building is being renovated in a big way. Then they say this is the place where he went, in Dharmagad he went and meditated. So similarly, when you come to certain places, you find connection with Raja Maharaj. You find in Bhubaneswar is the place which is connected with the Raja Maharaj. This is perhaps the only center which Maharaj himself played a role in starting and overseeing the construction and finally inaugurating it. The subject for our satsang for next 20 minutes is how Raja Maharaj was a spiritual giant. You know, there is an interesting book in English, The Eternal Companion. In The Eternal Companion, somewhere in the beginning, there is a description like this, that once Raja Maharaj was on the railway platform. There was a person looking at him from a distance and he was talking to somebody else. वो उनसे बात कर रहे थे और बात करते करते पूछते हैं, अच्छा, this person referring to Raja Maharaj, is he a Punjabi or a South Indian or a Bengali? Then the other person says, all that I do not know, but this much I know, that he is a man of God. This is how, when a man whom we call or we might perceive as a spiritual giant is to be described, who has gone beyond those limitations which bind us, which make us feel small and make us live in what just now Maharaj referred to in the Vishayananda. From when we rise from Vishayananda, we begin to see the higher level of thinking, higher level of consciousness, higher level of therefore enjoyment. Raja Maharaj was a spiritual giant, a mystic. But then, how do you know a mystic? Because a mystic's life is a very, very inner life. Any amount of writing, speaking, any amount of expression about a mystic will not give an expression of what he really is. Because उनका जो जीवन है वो आंतरिक जीवन है. बाहर क्या दिखाई देता है? बाहर दिखाई देता है उनका एक शांतपूर्ण, एक हास्य से भरा हुआ, एक प्रेम और करुणा से भरा हुआ, एक भगवान की एक चेतना से भरा हुआ एक व्यवहार. This is how we look at him. And you know, Raja Maharaj, of course, we have talked serious things about him, about very beautiful abstract ideas. But if you look at Raja Maharaj's life, it was full of humor and fun. जैसे रामकृष्ण मठ बेंगलोर, जब इसका उद्घाटन हुआ 1908 के लगभग, तो राजा महाराज उस उद्घाटन समारोह में थे. And you know, he was not a public speaker. He wouldn't go to a platform and give a talk. There are hardly any talks about which he has given. It is said that he went there and he was asked that he has to speak. So the anchor, the comparer, he announced that now there will be presidential address, because he was the president. Now there will be presidential address. Raja Maharaj seriously got up and said, Swami Brahmananda, President, Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, Post Office Belur Mutt, District Havada, West Bengal. In those days, Bengal. Because they said presidential address. The word address has got two meanings. You have the address of a person, where he lives, or his speech. That's how he looked upon life. he would have very subtle humor and that very dignified way of expressing that humor. We say his life is an inner life, but strange power they radiate. In the book Swami Brahmananda, as we saw him, there is an incident which is narrated there. It says that somewhere in Kerala, perhaps in Haripad, there was the person who had come to make pranam along with others. He did not believe in God, or at least he so thought. He thought that he was an atheist. He came to Raja Maharaj. When he bowed down, Raja Maharaj looked at him and said, God is. There is God. That's all. This little statement convinced him of the presence of God, and he changed his belief system. Thereafter, he was no more an atheist. That's the power of a spiritual giant, that when he says there is God, it means something. Again, Swami Brahmanji, we say he was a spiritual giant. The term spirituality, we all know, सबको मालूम है आध्यात्मिकता एक शब्द होता है. अब इसका अर्थ क्या है? How do we look at the word आध्यात्मिकता या spirituality? How do you explain? Do we say that he has a lot of visions? Perhaps yes. Or he has solved the problem of life and death? Of course, yes. Traditionally we say there are 3 types of dukkhas. 3 तरह के दुख हमारे पास हैं. हर मनुष्य के पास आते हैं. Irrespective of your religion or gender or nationality. This universal idea of understanding dukkha, क्या है? You have the dukkha which comes from the forces of nature, अधिदैविक दुkkha. जैसे गर्मी है, सुनामी आती है, बाढ़ आती है, तूफान आता है. So we try to find that, we try to fight that dukkha at the level, physical level. So we work on scientific principles. We try to remove the dukkha which comes from the elements of nature. Then we have the dukkha which comes from other living beings, adhibhautika dukkha. Adhibhautika dukkha is living beings. It could be a mosquito. Yesterday, a gentleman made a beautiful statement saying that Alexander had to leave India because not of the bravery of people who were fighting, but because of the mosquitoes. Because mosquitoes also is a dukkha. Or you have got the dukkha in the form of animals. Or other living human beings around you. Human beings bring so much of dukkha. So we have these 2 types of adhidaivika, adhibhautika dukkha. Then we have the adhyatmika dukkha. The dukkha or the suffering or the pain or the struggle that we bring to ourselves because of our own wrong attitude, or because we are not aware, in most of the cases, of our own divine nature. Because we do not know we are that infinite being. We are full of, we are naturally joyful. We have forgotten that. And that brings us dukkha. We keep looking for that joy elsewhere instead of finding it within. A mystic definitely, a spiritual giant definitely tries to solve the problem of dukkha, and he has solved it at the level of adhyatma. He has found the self. And according to Sanatana Dharma, one who has found the self has found God. जिसको अपने स्वरूप का दर्शन हो गया है, उसको भगवान का दर्शन हो गया, क्योंकि स्वरूप में और भगवान में कोई अंतर नहीं है. So a spiritual giant or a mystic that Brahmananda ji was, he was a man who knew who he was. And we find numerous incidents which speak of what he had experienced. A little touch here, a little smile there, a little word there, and people would get transformed. We know, we have heard incidents, we know in the books there are beautiful incidents. He was simple like a child. He was simple like a child. In the Upanishads, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we find that a man who has gone beyond the three gunas becomes as simple like a little child. So there's a little incident that once he was not feeling well. जब वो बलराम मंदिर के घर, बलराम मंदिर जिसको हम कहते हैं, बलराम बोस के घर, उस समय वहाँ पे थे, तो एक दिन उन्होंने कहा कि मैं खाऊंगा नहीं, कुछ स्वीट्स लाए थे. There were some in the kitchen, there were some sweets. They said, no, I am not feeling well, I will not eat. तो उसको रख दो. तो उस जमाने का जो कूलर था, आजकल तो इलेक्ट्रिक कूलर है, उस जमाने का जो कूलर था, उस कूलर में रख दिए गए बहुत से स्वीट्स. But early morning at 4 o'clock he felt hungry. He went and like a child he finished everything. And later on Swami Premanand ji came to know, and he asked the person there, where is the sweet? Maharaj we have to give the sweets to Maharaj. He said, sweets? I don't know where it is. He said, perhaps you did not lock the place? Perhaps some cat came and took it? And then Raja Maharaj was standing and he smiled and said, yes, a very big cat came. As simple as that. Nobody could feel that he was that spiritual giant to whom Swami Vivekananda made pranam when he returned from the West, or when that he was the president of the Ramakrishna mission. And sometimes he will lose himself into ecstasy. There is one incident in the Belur Mutt, that one day there was some celebration, some puja was going on. Suddenly he got up and started dancing. Now, please bear in mind, what is this dancing? Because we are used to the dancing on TV these days, not that type of dance. It's an expression of joy. Swami Saradanand in the Great Master, has given a description of what is the dance of Sri Ramakrishna. And one of the classical singers and classical dancers in Bangalore, once she wrote an article on the spiritual dimensions of Sri Ramakrishna's dance. Similar dance you find these direct disciples bursting into. That person is not able to control his joy, his happiness, his bliss within. And that bursts forth as a dance. So he started dancing. And Swami Turiyanji was also there. And now this was that you are so happy. Like a child who has got something and becomes happy and start dancing. Then somebody came and quietly whispered in Turiyanji's ears that this is a time for food. Turiyanji became irritated with him and said, what? Here we are enjoying such wonderful spiritual bliss and you are bothered about food? That the same Brahmanandaji who was at that level. One more thing. He was a man who was tuned to some other level. Swami Nirvananandji Maharaj refers to an incident which happened right here in Bhubaneswar, that he was near the temple. The temple, definitely, it was not what we see today, but it was near that building, and he was standing, and suddenly there were some colors which fell on his feet. And he looked at it, there was nobody around. Then he asked someone, is it the day of Holi today? He said, yes, then go and get some colors. It is the Devatas themselves who wanted to play Holi with him. And then they say, why this so happened? Because that was a time when the ashram was all surrounded by jungle. There was no, like today we have a festival coming and so many WhatsApp messages come that festival is coming. So it was just an incident that happened. That was that is how he was tuned. Again, if he could go to a place as a giant, as a man who was always tuned to something higher, he could feel the vibrations. When he went to Tirupati in South India, जैसे आप जानते हैं तिरुपति बालाजी का मंदिर, he felt a strange sense of spiritual vibration there. He said he will stay for a few days there, but he continued to stay for 1 month. And he appreciated the place very much. Just as we said in the beginning, कि जैसे भुवनेश्वर में उनको वो वाइब्रेशंस फील हुई. So because his mind was so tuned. Again, he would have, as a person whose mind was very subtle, he would have visions or perceptions of something very subtle which our gross mind do not see, or the person who is not developed his mind doesn't see. For instance, it is said when he went to South India, he would often initiate, जब वो दीक्षा देते थे तो दीक्षा देने के पहले जिस मंत्र में दीक्षा देनी है उस देवी देवता का ध्यान करते थे. तो एक बार एक किसी व्यक्ति को उन्होंने इस प्रकार से दीक्षा देनी थी. It went on for quite some time. He was not able to give him the mantra which he wanted to give. Why? Because when he would close his eye and meditate and think of the Ishtadevata of that person, some new god will appear before him. Then he inquired, then he found in south, that is in Tamil Nadu, there is the worship of Kartikeya. So भगवान कार्तिक की बहुत वहाँ पूजा होती है. तो वो जो उनके हाथ में एक जो उनका हथियार है जिसको वेल कहते हैं वो उन्होंने पकड़ा हुआ है. तो वो समझ नहीं पा रहे थे ये कौन देवता है. Then he asked somebody and somebody said, yes, he is so. Then he initiated that man. We find many such incidents of how his mind was so tuned. Before I close, there are two things are so which I think we should carry home. जैसे अब आपने इतना कुछ सुना है, आपने इतने विचार सुने, महाराज की greatness के बारे में सुना. So I think we should also carry some 2-3 teachings of him regarding what are we to do in our daily life after listening to all this. स्वामी ब्रह्मानंद जी की जो टीचिंग्स हैं हिंदी में, बंगला में, विभिन्न किताबों में जो है, और इंग्लिश में द एटर्नल कंपेनियन जो मद्रास रामकृष्ण मिशन से पब्लिश है, we find this, it is like a handbook for contemplative life. Srimad Swami Vireshwaranji Maharaj, even when he was president of the Ramakrishna Mission, he would read this book. There is one very senior monk who recently was narrating how when he was in training center, Maharaj would call him and ask him, he had taken the book from the library, ask him to go and sit with him and read that book line by line, read it out to revered Maharaj. So this book is something like the handbook on how to do meditation, how to do prayer, how we can spiritualize our life. Because a giant is not, he is like one who has risen to that state and we just offer our pranams to him and say, हाँ बहुत बड़े महान आदमी थे, हम उनसे बहुत उनको श्रद्धा करते हैं. But he has a message to give. He has something which should change our lives. आज हम इस युग में रह रहे हैं जो there is so much of push and pull from the material forces. So how do we live our spiritual aspirations? उसको मन में ध्यान में रखे हुए मैं 2 या 3 टीचिंग्स उसी किताब से पढ़ता हूँ जो स्वामी वीरेश्वरान जी की बात जो मैंने अभी भी कही. He says that to gain name and fame, it is easy to do a magnificent work, but through such work you cannot estimate the real worth of a man. In order to do so, you have to examine his daily actions, for it is the ordinary actions of a man which reveal the real man. यही बात स्वामी विवेकानंद ने कर्मयोग में कही है. कर्मयोग में स्वामी जी ने कहा है कि if you want to judge the character of a man, don't look at his big achievements. Look at his small little actions. How he deals with the people, how he deals with his people around him who are juniors or seniors, or how he handles his personal life, his personal routine. That reveals the real man. And Brahmanji says that through such actions alone, you know how far man has developed his character. Filled with God consciousness, a true karma yogi loses himself, heart and soul, in every undertaking, big or small. He is never actuated by the least desire for praise and popularity. ये है ब्रह्मानंद जी महाराज का एक टेक अवे मैसेज कि सिर्फ बाहरी चीजों को दिखावा करने के लिए कोई व्यक्ति आध्यात्मिक ना बने, क्योंकि वो आध्यात्मिकता जो है वो आध्यात्मिकता नहीं है. It is a quiet little carrying on of our spiritual aspiration, spiritual practice every day, which will make us what we are. फिर Swami Brahmanji speaks about meditation. So much he has laid, not only on Karma Yoga, but on meditation. एक बार यही किताब जिसे हम रेफर कर रहे हैं, a copy of it was presented to Albert Einstein by Swami Prabhavananda ji. Prabhupada ji, as you know, he was a disciple of Swami Brahmanji Maharaj. So when it was given to Albert Einstein, he read it. And after reading it, he is supposed to have made this statement, yes, Raja Maharaj is right. We must meditate. We are always looking outward. And that is how we have so much of fight. That was in the Second World War. So much of fight. Let us look within. That is what Raja Maharaj is asking us to do. So there's a small passage on what is meditation, and with that I will close. He says, somebody asked Raja Maharaj, how shall I steady my mind? In other words, my mind is very restless. How to make my mind calm? Maharaj replied, by daily practice of meditation. And for this practice, early morning is the best time. Before meditation, reading from any of the holy scriptures will make concentration easier. After meditation, sit silently for about half an hour. For at the time of meditation, you may not experience its effect. It may come a little later. Therefore, it is said that if immediately after meditation you divert your attention abruptly to secular affairs, it will not only you do great harm in general, but it will also deter the growth of your mind towards spiritual realization in particular. अर्थात जब आप कहें कि मेरा मन कैसे शांत हो, तो उसका एक उपाय जो राजा महाराज बताते हैं वह है कि हर रोज सुबह और शाम ध्यान कीजिए, ध्यान के साथ साथ जप कीजिए. He says this is best, it becomes fruitful जब आप ध्यान करने से पहले कोई आध्यात्मिक किताब भी पढ़ते हैं. Suppose we read the Bhagavad Gita, we read the complete works, or we read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. That sets the mood. And he says after the meditation also, don't immediately say now I have so many things to do. जैसे कुछ लोग होते हैं ध्यान के लिए बैठते हैं, टाइम फिक्स किया होता है 15 मिनट, और 15 मिनट के बाद अब मेरे को कुकर को सीटी बंद करनी है. तो ड्यूरिंग द मेडिटेशन ऑल्सो कुकर की ही सीटी बंद होती रहती है. या फिर दे हैव टू गो एंड राइट वन ईमेल, सो दे विल बी थिंकिंग ऑफ द ईमेल इन द मेडिटेशन ऑल्सो. So Maharaj is very particular. He says, let us always try to create a spiritual mood and carry it with us even after the meditation. So these two teachings I thought we will refer to in this context, that Raja Maharaj says that he was such a great spiritual giant, and we, when we study his life, when we study his day-to-day dealings, we see he was so full of joy. He was so full of a strange kind of peace. One of the authors उस किताब में कहते हैं, जो हमने कही कि Swami Brahmananda, as we saw him, he says that Swami Vivekananda was like a bright sun, and Raja Maharaj or Swami Brahmananda was like moon. Now sun, it is difficult to look at him for a long time. But moon is very gentle in its rays. So we look at his teachings, they are very gentle. They give us the idea of how to become a true gentle man or a true gentle woman before we really take to spiritual life. So उनकी जो teachings को हम पढ़ते हैं, उनके विचारों को जब उनके जो जीवन की घटनाओं को पढ़ते हैं, उससे भी बहुत इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है, और उनके विचारों से भी बहुत, उनकी जो छोटी छोटी इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं उससे भी बहुत हमें इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है. बस इतना ही है कुछ आपके साथ शेयर किया. आई एम वेरी मच थैंकफुल टू रेवर्ड स्वामी आत्मप्रभान जी महाराज फॉर on two accounts. First, for giving me this opportunity of sharing a few thoughts, and also for past 3 days giving me the opportunity of playing the role on the stage that I have been playing. Thank you very much.
Our heartfelt thanks to Revered Swami Atma Shraddhana Ji Maharaj for his very simple and lucid speech in which he tried to explain the deep connection of Raja Maharaj with Bhuvaneshwar Mutt as well. Through some examples, he also explained us the spiritual height of Swami Brahmanand Ji Maharaj, though it is difficult, but we can understand only through such small examples only. So we are very grateful to Revered Swami Atma Shraddhana Ji Maharaj, who took pains all the way to travel from Kanpur to Bhubaneswar, and he guided us.